episode 326 of Late Night Linux, recorded on the 24th of March 2025. I'm Joe, and with me are Phelim.
Evening.
Graham.
Hello.
And Will.
Hello.
Let's get straight on with the news then. Home Assistant officially matters is the headline, and the story is that Home Assistant is now officially Matter certified. Someone tell me what Matter means.
Matter is a combination of communication mechanisms for home automation / smart devices. It builds largely on Zigbee. It's an entirely open standard, and it is point-to-point, by which I mean you don't need a special home hub that is on the internet. Like every device on your Matter network can talk to every other device on your Matter network without a whole bunch of internet in between. Now, so far, so normal. Devices on your Zigbee network work in pretty much the same way. You do need a dongle to talk to them. And I don't think that's any different for Matter. But what is different is that it can also use your Wi-Fi network to communicate with devices on Matter as well. So you don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of new hubs and connectivity. And that is good for the smart home user because you don't have to go out and immediately upgrade all of your devices. You can buy one here, one there, and as your network expands, they will all just naturally talk to each other.
Right, and Home Assistant worked with Matter before, but now it's got the official stamp of approval.
Yes, my understanding is that the Matter people, whoever they are, have a set of certifications that you can test your software against, and if you pass those, then you get the approval. And that is what they have done. And I also believe that, I think we talked about this a few weeks back, that they are a part of that working group. And so while they perhaps don't have a say in the nuts and bolts layer, how Matter works, decision making, what they do have is a seat at the table, so they can at least be part of the conversation and be listened to when people are making decisions about how Matter should work.
Bit of a basic question. Who owns Matter? As in, who can control it? I mean, it's probably, I imagine, some form of group, but is it swayable? Is it like the sort of way that, we have a web standards group, which definitely doesn't just do everything that Google tells it to do?
My understanding is it is much more like, for example, the Wi-Fi group. They define like the low-level protocol and the frequencies that are used or the waveforms that are used, whatever the encoding mechanisms they use, that kind of level. So there's not really a lot to gain from promoting your personal way of interpreting the rules than anybody else's, because interoperability is really the point of the whole organization.
I do like the sound of that. I'm not keen on a home of bits I have to handshake with like Graham's, but Home Assistant definitely is growing on me at this point.
Now, this isn't going to make any real world difference to Home Assistant users, right? Like, it's just certified now, it's official, but you're not going to see any changes directly as a result of this.
Well, I don't know. It's difficult to say because Home Assistant has had Matter support for some time now. What will happen? I don't know. I think what you're suggesting, Joe, things will just continue to work. I don't think there'll be suddenly a special improvement in the interoperability of these devices. Like, it will just continue to work. The real benefit here is that you can buy a Matter device and be as confident as you possibly can be that it will just work with Home Assistant. And I think that that is a massive help to people who want to either expand their smart home devices or start getting into smart home devices, that you can actually go to the shops, and you can go to the physical shops and buy a device and know that it will just work. And that is quite amazing.
Yeah, because I think this has been one of the biggest problems for like brewing your own home setup. Apple has HomeKit, for example, and that's an easily recognizable mark where you know something's just going to work on your Apple devices if you buy, an IoT device. And I really hope and think this will be the equivalent for open systems and Home Assistant especially.
It seems to me that Home Assistant and the company behind it, Nabucasa, are getting more and more serious, more and more official, and more proper, I suppose is the word.
I feel the same way. I wonder if there are any numbers. I wonder if they're aware of how much growth there must be in Home Assistant, because it feels like they're seeing a lot of growth and they're seeing an opportunity.
It does feel like that might be a double-edged sword, though, potentially, because as they get more serious and more corporate, then that is better for the sustainability of the project. But also, you do worry about the future a little bit.
That is always a worry. And I must admit, the default deployment now for Home Assistant is via its own Docker containers and its own add-on Docker containers, which I do not like. But, this is an open source project. I'm the naive one of the group. I think they're doing this for the right reasons, and it's working for them. And I don't see that they will. I don't know. I'm going to be burnt by this, aren't I?
I think my concern is that even though Home Assistant is one of the biggest, most popular open source projects out there, there are still a finite number of developers working on it, like tens of developers working on it. Now, thankfully, they're able to work on it full time, or a number of them are able to work on it full time because they are paid to work on it. And we've seen job adverts for Home Assistant roles in the recent months. So, this is, I think, an example of a successful open source project, which is starting to get influence in the same way that, for example, Blender has done. And Blender has gone from strength to strength with that financial security and that mind share that they've got in the open source community and in the professional community has really helped them to keep the product going, keeping it free. I hope that's what we see with Home Assistant. And I do believe that even though there are a dozen different standards for home automation communication, ultimately people do want their devices to be interoperable, which I think is why Matter is important. I was not really convinced it was going to really take off in the way that it has done, but that I was proven wrong there. I hope that Home Assistant continues to go from strength to strength on the back of supporting Matter devices.
And also, just thinking about it, a big part of this is so that we can run our smart homes and our own network without any internet connectivity if we so choose. And that's like a foundational pillar of Home Assistant success.
No, just use an Echo and have everything you say to it sent to Amazon, like is going to happen in a few days. We'll link to an Ars Technica piece about that, and it just really does make you grateful for everything that the Home Assistant people are doing. So yeah, I hope that what they are building here is sustainability for the project. And I really hope that it will continue to be open source and be one of those big flagships like a Blender, like OBS Studio, one of the big names in open source.
I really wish someone will root Amazon's devices so that we could stick Home Assistant on there, because it'd be a great way of using what will become a load of redundant devices and also taking advantage of their excellent microphone arrays.
Yeah,
here's hoping. Well, speaking of FOSS sustainability or lack thereof, Dash to Panel maintainer quits after donations drive becomes Dash to disaster. Typically tabloid headline from the Register there. But yeah, what happened was Charles Gagnon, the maintainer of Dash to Panel, which is a popular GNOME extension, added a little heart notification, which when you clicked on it, asked for donations. And people got very mad about that. And he said, well, fuck you lot then. I'm leaving.
Not only that, but the original developer of the plugin piled in and said that he shouldn't have done it either, but then rapidly came back to apologize to the guy afterwards. I mean, talk about a fucking car crash. It's really bad. I mean, fair enough, you didn't like the way he did the icon or whatever, but Jesus Christ, the guy's trying to make some money to do the thing. I mean, just get on with it.
I run this extension on my desktop every day. And after a recent update, incidentally, there have been probably more updates in the last 2 weeks than there have been in the last 2 years. But, well, that's sort of the way it feels to me anyway. And I got the little heart thing and it popped up. When you hover on it, it says about donations, and you clicked on it and it said about donations, and you right click and hide, and then it's gone. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Never mind. And 30 seconds later, it was gone. I didn't donate, but I perhaps should have done. We've talked about the way in which open source should try and raise money so many times. We still haven't got a solution. Previously, we've talked about the solution being, well, if they just asked for money and gave us a way of doing it, then we'd all do it. Well, that hasn't worked either. So I don't know. I think this is a storm in a teacup myself.
I think it's just a very sad tale, really, that entitled open source users fucking moaned about stuff instead of just doing what you did. You didn't want to donate, so you just closed it and forgot about it.
Yeah.
Whereas we've seen with KDE and with Thunderbird that it can be really successful.
It should be. I mean, people should be willing to support the projects, I think. And yeah, not everybody has like X amount of money to be able to give every week or something like that, but it everybody can donate what they can. It just seems completely bonkers that somebody actually forced this guy to quit, essentially, because they were just a bunch of arseholes, to be quite honest.
Well, yeah, it's like those pricks at DistroWatch who were linking directly to Elementary's new release, ISO, instead of linking to the web page that asked for a contribution, a financial contribution. There's just this real entitlement, isn't there, in open source, I think, from a lot of the users.
Must be those young people, I'd say.
Yeah, from a vocal number of users.
Yeah.
It's a shame that the developers can't mentally distance themselves from those comments, but I understand it. I mean, a shame for them because I'm sure it's a very satisfying project. And I feel it's their project. They're free to experiment however they wish, Somebody else can, try something different if they wish.
Yeah, and if you didn't like the heart appearing in your dock or whatever, uninstall the software that you got for free without paying.
Yeah.
And don't moan about it.
If we didn't have moaning on the internet, I don't know what we would have.
Cute cat videos. Why can't we just go back to that? Okay, this episode is sponsored by Tailscale. Go to tailscale.com/LNL. Tailscale is the easiest way to connect devices and services to each other, wherever they are. Everyone these days has a VPN as a sponsor, but Tailscale isn't like those. This isn't about hiding your browsing habits from coffee shop owners, and it's not about watching Netflix in another country. Tailscale is a proper VPN for connecting your devices securely. It's great for companies, and it's great for self-hosters. Tailscale makes creating software-defined networks easy, securely connecting users, services, and devices. You can get set up in just a few minutes and then see everything in the web interface. I love how easy and clear it is to see all my devices and everything I need to know about their status. Tailscale's personal plan will always be free, so support the show and try Tailscale out for free today. You'll get up to 100 devices and 3 users for free at tailscale.com/LNL with no credit card required. That's tailscale.com/LNL. On to a bit of admin then. First of all, thank you everyone who supports us with PayPal and Patreon. We really do appreciate that. If you want to join those people, you can go to latenightlinux.com/support. And remember that for various amounts on Patreon, you can get an advert-free RSS feed of either just this show or all the shows in the Late Night Linux family. And you even get some episodes early. And if you want to get in contact, you can email show@latenightlinux.com. There's a couple of KDE stories that are related. Jonathan Riddle is stepping down from KDE Plasma release management and also announcing Tech Paladin software from Nate.
What is Tech Paladin software? It sounds like a dodgy AI startup to me.
Well, it's not. It's kind of the company that Blue Systems have passed the torch to. Is that fair, Phelim?
Yeah, they got the job to take over the Blue Systems Valve contract, so that's quite cool. And yeah, it's good to see sort of it growing on from there. I don't know if Blue Systems had just kind of decided to move a different direction or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, that's quite cool that they were able to just start a company and go.
Yeah, and it seems like they've continued to employ most of the people who are working for Blue Systems.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's early days yet, so I'm sure this thing will all pad out as to who goes where and what does what, and they'll probably start looking for more people to join up if they're doing successful and well, and best of luck to them all, I think.
Well, speaking of KDE, Fedora 42 beta is now available. Not something we would normally talk about, except for the fact that KDE Plasma is now an official edition, so it's kind of on a par with GNOME.
Can you put in some cheering sound effects here?
It is excellent news, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's very good for people who are stuck in the wrong ecosystem.
Come on now, play nicely.
No, I'm only joking. Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I don't know, Graham said something nasty about it earlier, but yeah.
It's funny, though, that they've basically completely got rid of X11, though, in the GNOME version.
I don't use X11 anywhere in any of my Plasma desktop or VMs. I've pretty much done away with it.
Yeah, well, Fedora is the place to do this, isn't it, I think? To just completely get rid of X11.
Well, I'm not using Fedora, but...
Well, yeah, but the point is that I've always seen Fedora as the kind of proving ground for Linux technologies and open source technologies. And so for them to just have the guts to say, look, we're just not having this X11 bullshit anymore. It's all Wayland all the time. Let's just go with it and see what happens. And if there are problems, we're going to have to fix those problems. And then those of us on more conservative distros like Ubuntu LTSs and
ones that you can use for your job.
Well, yeah, although a lot of people do use Fedora, so don't write in, we know. But, you know, we all benefit from the trailblazing that Fedora does. So I think that it's great that they've done this so that it's just going to force people into a Wayland future.
I agree with Joe. Even though it's pretty flaky for me and it's entirely proprietary NVIDIA's fault.
Well, it's your fault for buying an NVIDIA card, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. It is my fault.
He just wanted that sweet, sweet VR love.
I do. Yeah, I really need 32 times anti-tropic anti-aliasing on all my games.
Yeah, it's definitely the games you got the VR headset for. Ubuntu 25.10 plans to swap GNU coreutils for Rust. This is quite something. So the plan is to swap out the GNU stuff for utils, which is written in Rust. And so Ubuntu 25.10, if this does happen, will not really be GNU/Linux anymore. And if it goes well, then it'll make it into 2604, the LTS. And then maybe Ubuntu going forward will just not use coreutils anymore. That seems like a huge step to me.
I was more for this until I've discovered it was the MIT license, and I'm not as keen on that. I think the GPL has served us well, and I'm not as keen on the whole more permissive license thing because I think it just gets abused by companies more than GPL.
But that's not the reason why they're doing this.
No, and I get that, but as I say, I was actually more keen about this until I had discovered that it was MIT licensed, and now I'm not as keen on it.
Well, they have been very clear about it, that this is a technical decision. It's got nothing to do with the license. The license is compatible with Ubuntu. Obviously, it's permissive. But it's all about the technical aspects of Rust being more modern and memory safe and all the rest of it. So I think that you and the other GPL fanboys are getting themselves in a twist for nothing.
Well, I'm not getting myself in a twist. I think that might be a slight exaggeration there, but I do think this would have to go very, very right because those coreutils are pretty well developed to the point where they don't change much. So this isn't just, replacing some sort of Mickey Mouse thing that always breaks, like, say, GhostScript or whatever that one that Alex Murray is constantly, every week, has got the PDF thing has something gone wrong with it. You're not replacing something that's buggy as fuck. This thing, all these tools have worked and do work, and if they don't work, your distro's fucked.
Yeah, they're not calling them core utils for nothing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of pressure here, and it's not like they were really horrifically broken either. So, this could be interesting to see how well it goes.
The upside here, well, I think there are many upsides actually, but the upside as far as the users are concerned is that those core utils have got such an extensive set of tests that it's possible to make sure that the new ones perform in exactly the same way, give or take. They've got 600 tests, and the new ones are passing 500 of those tests. And these are going to be very, very low-level tests. So I think that the quality and the functionality is pretty much certain at this point. And I think if you're going to swap one set of tools out for another, and the GPL license is of concern, then I think that this is a decent set of tools to start with, because really nobody can benefit from a more permissive license on things like LS than they already do with GPL. So I think it's a pretty safe set of tools to move over to an MIT license and perhaps pave the way to a memory safe future. TM.
Well, John Seeger at Canonical, who's really spearheading this, he's written a tool called Oxidizer, which lets you swap out the tools kind of back and forth to do testing, which I think is a very good idea. And we've not even had the release of 2504 yet. This is coming later this year, so there's plenty of time to work on it, and it's an interim release. I think that probably the best time to have done this would have been 2410 to give you like the maximum time to test it, but hopefully there'll be enough testing of it. And also, they are very much leaving open the possibility that if this doesn't work out for 2604, then they'll just go back to GNU coreutils. So it seems like a very cautious and sensible approach to me. And if it trolls the likes of Phelim in the meantime, then that's got to be a positive, isn't it?
Good.
I imagine they're just using Copilot to convert the old C code into Rust.
I hope so.
Sorry, John.
Look, they're just vibe coding it, man. It'll be fine.
I don't know what that means.
Well, we've got a Linux Dev Timer about that coming up fairly soon. Spoiler, it's a terrible, terrible idea. GIMP 3.0 released.
Oh, we need more crowd sounds.
We do, yeah. Yeah. So it's been an awfully long time coming, and there are a shitload of features that I don't think we've really got time to go into, but I tried it out and it was GIMP, essentially. Like, I'm sure that if you need all these cool features, then it's fine. But if you use GIMP like I do, open Shift-C to get the crop tool, crop the screenshot, export it, nothing was different.
Do you not have a screen capture utility on your desktop that could do this without having to load an entire graphics application?
Almost certainly, yes, but it's the way I've always done it. What can I say?
Okay.
GIMP 3 has been on the verge of being released for a long time, like the rest of GIMP. So it's an iteration over what's come before, but it's still an amazing project. And it is a huge milestone. So, yeah, I think it's congratulations to the team, the small team, and thank you for keeping GIMP alive.
That said, it was quite a good opportunity to change it to just GNU IMP, wasn't it? They didn't take that opportunity. It's still called GIMP and it pissed people off.
Yeah. I mean, we said this before. I agree. I think they should change the name, but it's up to them.
Yeah, it's their project. They can do what they like. And we saw what happened with Glimpse. Didn't work out. But just call it IMP. Just IMP and, draw a little IMP character or whatever. And, have GNU in little and IMP in big. Problem solved.
Oh, maybe you should have sent them all of these great ideas. They probably would have gone, oh shit, that's a really good idea.
Probably.
Maybe you should have drawn it in GIMP for them. And then they would have gone, wow, where have we been all our lives?
The first new Pebble smartwatches are coming later this year. So we talked about this a while ago. Eric Michkowski, the original Pebble guy, managed to wrestle the source code out of Google. And he is self-funding this project now. And so there's two versions of it, a black and white one and a color one. And the black and white one is supposed to be shipping in July, although if you order it now, it's going to be like August or later. And the black and white one is called Core 2 Duo, and the color one is Core Time 2. I mean, Core 2 Duo.
Is that not trademarked?
Well, yeah. Are Intel going to tell them to knock it off? I don't know. Do they really care about a 20-year-old CPU at this point, or whatever it is, 15-year-old?
I just wish that the black watch had the black and white screen.
There is a version, but it's sold out.
Oh, okay. I missed that then. I thought to get a color one, you had to get the black one.
No, the Core 2 Duo, the black and white one, is available in either white or black, but the black is out of stock. Obviously, that's going to be the popular one.
I see. Okay.
And I was somewhat tempted to get the color one, Core Time 2. It's $250 shipped, which is a little bit too much. And also it starts shipping December. So I think I'll have to wait a year, see if they actually manage to ship this and see what happens with the reviews and everything. But nevertheless, this is pretty cool. And I do want one, but just not enough to actually order one. Right, well, we better get out of here then. We'll be back next week when who knows what it'll be. But until then, I've been Joe.
I've been Phelim.
I've been Graham.
And I've been Will.
See you later.